Hey everyone, it's Gary. Welcome to this week's live Path to Prosperity webinar. Give me just a few minutes. I just want to check a few things here. Hang on one second. Let's first make sure everybody is okay. Let's see here on the technology side. So hang on just one second. Can you see my screen and hear my voice? What's funny, I think I've done that over 250 times now. You think I have a ready-made canned message there to just plug in. But you never know with technology and internet and Wi-Fi and just all kinds of crazy things happen. So in any case, hope you all are doing well. Let me check the attendee list so far. All the responses are yes. You can see my screen and hear my voice. So that's wonderful. Let's see. Welcome aboard to everybody. Excuse me. Pretty interesting subject tonight. This is going to help pretty much just about everybody here directly. What it has to do with is, how do you properly and correctly create messages using social media, but not in a way that's could cost you a fortune. That's not what this is about. I just want to give you some guidelines and steps to follow when you decide to use, Facebook, for example. I mean, sometimes it's YouTube, LinkedIn, and the fact you should be doing all three of those at a minimum at some point. You don't have to do them all now, but just start with one. Later on, add another one. Instagram's really big right now too, but I'm just going to stick with the old. It's funny we call Facebook old now. Our kids think that only old people use Facebook. So in any case, LinkedIn is huge in real estate. If you're an investor, an agent, either one, this is going to help you tremendously. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over tonight. Before we get into the details, though, just a couple quick updates. The event for Anaheim, April 5th, 6th, and 7th, is nearing capacity. I think they cap it off at like 100, and I forget what the head count is. Now we've still got a month of classes to teach, and I think we're about 3/4 of the way there. So if you haven't registered, if you're if you're in California and you've been in a class that I've taught here since January the 7th, okay, in San Diego or the LA areas, don't worry, you're automatically registered when you sign up for the training program. They now make it part of your training, so you're okay. Again, you can bring a guest. You just got to use the email. Let the folks at My Investment Services know. You should have an email from them, probably several emails from them by now. Just say, I want to add my spouse, brother, sister, whatever the case is. If you're not in any of the Southern California regions and you want to come and you haven't registered yet, please do so. Go to they gave me the Facebook page is up now. Just go in there, click on get tickets, and you got to go to another screen and you select I think get tickets again or something like that. It'll take you through the process. Just remember, if you're an active student, you don't have to pay for the event. I mean, you have to pay for your travel and all that. If you're not active, you may want to reactivate quickly. Just go to opt in for the silver, and I think you can still go. But what I'm getting at is we're running out of time here. It's going to be pretty awesome. If you've never been to one, I promise you this: when you leave, you won't be the same person you were when you got there. So, in any case, always remember, guys, to look at the emails from Beverly, especially the ones that come out after these weekly webinars, because she's often giving you, important information on schedules, updates to the systems and platforms, things like that. For those of you who've been on in the last couple weeks, I'll be in California up through obviously that first weekend of April. Actually, we'll be here sort of Central Valley, Central Coast for the week or two after that. And then after that, I go up to the Bay Area in Sacramento. That's the latter half, maybe the tail end of April, more like May actually. So first half of May will be there, then all the way up through the coast of Oregon and Washington State. So that's pretty much going out the next 2 months there. In any case, always look for the email. If you ever have a subject you want me to cover, please let me know via email, at least like the week in advance. So after tonight, if there's something you want to discuss, hit me up tomorrow with an email, and I'll make sure I prepare for that for next week, which, by the way, is going to be on March. How about that? March 4th, coming up right up on Monday. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this, guys. I want to get into it. Couple things. I don't want to get into a lot of details because I don't want to overwhelm you. But I want to give you enough detail that you can actually use this stuff right after today, okay? But background-wise, when it comes to social media, you can go at it like haphazardly and try and guess and assume and try things and see what works. Unfortunately, most times they don't, okay? In fact, please write this down. When it comes to Facebook, in the beginning, don't ever spend any money. Don't spend money to boost things or any kind of thing like that. Okay, and in the beginning, don't do that. Later on, you can, but I want you to master it first. It doesn't take that much, but just like any, Google AdWords, all that stuff. I mean, they're going to charge you. A lot of people we used to call this Facebook spending money on Facebook ads. We actually call it the Facebook furnace. You put money in and it goes up in smoke. Okay. I know experts that'll tell you sometimes it takes several months to get it to the point where it's working, and then you can start spending money. Okay, you'll know it's working because you'll get results, you'll get listings, you'll get buyers, you'll be able to sell your own properties if you're an investor. Okay, so in order to determine how things are working, there's something called SEO, search engine optimization. Mainly has to do with your website. By now, everybody here should have their own web page at a minimum, at least a web page. Most of you, your broker provides you some of that capability for free. You get to get one for free. If not, you can build them for free. Just Google free website creation. There's usually templates, and they just walk you through how to put in the fields, and then poof, you got yourself a website. In any case, you want to know what your numbers are. You want to know how many people have visited your site, how long did they stay, what did they do when they got there, all that kind of stuff. Right now, I don't want you to worry about how to make that happen. What I want you to do is just know that it happens, because what I'm going to get into next is going to make a lot more sense, okay? So there's a couple websites you can use, by the way, that help in this matter. There's one called Search Engine Land. Just, you can write that down, Search Engine Land, okay? Like 3 words, contiguous, all together. Search Engine Land will help you determine numbers on your website and stuff like that. Some of you are more advanced than others, and this stuff, use it, see how you're doing, okay? So you know how to tweak and modify things. You can also use a free tool from Google. Just set up a Google account. You get something called Keyword Planner. Keyword Planner, okay? The bottom line is I'm talking about keywords here in a few minutes. I'm just giving you a couple of tools to write down that we'll use later on, okay? The main thing you're looking to do, guys, is to create, basically establish your authority, establish trust, and establish your expertise. So even if you're brand new, chances are you know more than most beginning investors do, okay? If you're going through the training, you're a certified investor agent. If you went through that program, there's other programs for flipping, of course, buying rentals, wholesaling, whole 9 yards. But you want to establish yourself as like the local person. So everything we're talking about tonight is not meant for you to be broadcast all over the planet, okay? This will be important later on when you start spending money. You don't want to spend money on ads for going over to Europe or eastern half of the United States if you're in California, for example. You might get a hit every now and then, but it's not going to be worth the money, okay? You want to go local, okay? So a couple things you can do to help yourself, by the way, locally. And we're going to get into Facebook here in a minute. Just hang on there. Is go on, subscribe to different, podcasts and blogs, and look for ones that are local. You can actually Google. Let's say you're in, LA County, LA County real estate blogs, LA County real estate podcasts, whatever that is. And look at them, subscribe to them, follow them, get them some positive comments, okay? This is leading up to something here. Always give first, right? Come from contribution. And then ask them if you can be on their blog. Ask them if you can be on their podcast, okay? And by the way, when it comes to blogs, you can even write an article and submit it to the blog host and ask them to publish it for you, okay? This is all beginning stuff. And by the way, all a blog is essentially an article. Maybe you can do a free report on how to determine value. How do you actually create a CMA? How do you determine the range of values for your property? You can put it out there for all the investors to hear. It's basically establish you as a go-to person. You could specialize in multi-units, for example, okay? Later on, you can do your own blog. You can do, I was going to say do your own podcast, but that's more advanced, and to do it right takes money. Okay, but in any case, first be a guest. I get invites all the time, or excuse me, requests all the time from people wanting to be on my podcast. I mean, it happens almost daily. It seems like they're not all appropriate, but sometimes I'll put people on there. So first thing is to be a guest on these others. Remember, this stuff's going out there, guys, on the airwaves. People are in their cars, sitting in traffic, and listening to these podcasts, right, from their cell phone through the car or through a headset. They're sitting in a doctor's office waiting, and they're reading a blog on their phone. It's huge, and it's happening all the time. Okay, that's why people like me are always doing blogs and podcasts. So in any case, if you ever need a subject to write about, let's say you're in, let's see, Bill Morrow, you're in Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania. Go to a website called BuzzSumo. So go ahead and write that down. BuzzSuma, BuzzSumo. Okay, and you'll get all kinds of information on what are the most common topics right now people want to talk about. I'll give you some specific ideas later. But BuzzSumo is a really good place to get topics. You can just go in and look for real estate subjects and put in your own 2 cents worth. We all have opinions, right? You'll sing about opinions, right? Everybody's got one. It's more than that, but I'm going to keep it clean here. So, in any case, it is important. I want to emphasize that you do start locally. All right. So, particularly if you're a service provider, let's say you're an accountant or a chiropractor, a dentist, or you're an agent. Of course, a lot of you are agents, right? Start locally. Let people know this is a local service you're providing. You can also to get guests, by the way, and also you can look at your local business publications to see who may be some potential guests for you. Let's say you want to do an article on a local chiropractor who also is a big investor, for example. You can also go to your chamber of commerce, okay? And this is for everybody here. Everybody has a chamber of commerce, right? But start locally, and if you want to expand and maybe build some teams around yourself and the surrounding areas, go and do that, and then you can expand more regionally after that. So in any case, another thing about blogs, guys, is this: as soon as you start doing a blog, you're going to wonder, where do I put it? Well, number one is you should put it on your website. Then you start to Google, how do you post blogs? And you'll see there's all kinds of blog sites you can post to. One of the things I would caution you against is this, is doing auto posts. You do not want to auto post blogs, okay? The reason is all the search engines, all the, the online internet technology, companies to host websites and measure and track things, they're wise to that, and they won't allow any what are called backlinks or links. They'll just cut them off. So really all you're doing is you're just basically taking up space and putting things out there blindly. And it's actually better if you're very selective and post your blog selectively. Don't feel like you're going to get out there on 100 different sites. Not going to be worth it. Just focus on 1 or 2 or 3 locally for your area and post them directly, so you'll get the link back. So they'll see who put it out there. It goes back to your website, for example, if you want to choose that. The point is you want people to be able to find you, and the way you do that is by putting content out there, by putting blogs out there. Again, don't think of a blog as anything any more than just simply you're writing a little bit of an essay, right? A number of you probably just said, "Oh, Gary, I hate essays." I didn't really care for them too much either in high school, but now that I'm in business, I like essays. I like writing articles. I like doing blogs. And when you do it about something you're passionate about, it shows up. It comes out in the blog. Remember, it's just an article, just a essay. That's all it is. All right. So, in any case, when you're writing, it's important that you use keywords and key phrases that are triggers to people personally, but also triggers to the internet. Okay. The internet is, search engines are constantly looking for keyword and key phrase matches. In other words, let's say you're in, Limerick, Pennsylvania, right? And you're dealing with multi-units, okay? That's your thing. you want to put in there, you know, and people are searching, by the way. I'm going to give you some ideas on how people are searching too, by the way. You want to put in there in your article something like, put this question: how can I afford a multi-unit building? And then in your article, you can answer the question. Well, guess what? That title, how can I afford a multi-unit building? How can I get the money to buy a multi-unit building? Is probably a search that many people have done before. Consumers have typed in there, how can I afford a multi-unit building? Well, all of a sudden, the computer, that magic black box behind everything we do online, sees that and says, my gosh, 5 million people have posted that request. Let's bump this guy up in rankings. You see what I'm saying? That's what keywords and key phrases do for you. In any case, another thing to do too is, actually, I'm going to go back to one thing here. Remember I suggested that you request to be a guest on other people's blogs and podcasts too, for that matter. What you may want to do is create a resume for yourself. We call it a one sheet, okay? Create a one sheet for yourself. Don't make it real technical like a resume, but almost like a bio, okay? Who you are, what you do, and maybe an example of something you're proud of, right? And then what it is you offer, what is your service you provide. Submit that, okay? And I suggest you always offer some kind of a free report or a free book. Free books are easy to get, particularly most brokerages. If a lot of you are Keller Williams, of course. If you go to KW, go to KWU. On there, you can get 8 steps to buy a home, to list a home. Sorry, 8 steps to buy a home, 12 steps to list a home, and you can brand that to be your own. Now all of a sudden you've got yourself a book. Okay. You can offer that, right? So there are lots of ideas, but what I'm getting at is when you do the one page, put that in there that's something you'll do for free. You offer everybody a free book, and I promise you will get a lot more acceptances on your request to be on someone else's podcast or blog. In any case, another thing you can do too is this, guys. Write this down: the word SCORE, SCORE, SCORE. There's local chapters all over the U.S. and I think in Canada too, by the way, I believe. SCORE is like basically it's a way for people locally to help other people locally who are trying to achieve some result. For example, people, like people want to invest, for example, or people who want to become an agent, or people who want to, do property management. You can register yourself with SCORE to be a mentor in that particular subject. So you can be a mentor for other people who are maybe thinking of getting their license, okay? And by the way, if you're thinking like I am, what else can you do with that? If you become a mentor for SCORE, generally it's pro bono, you're doing it as a community service for people who are thinking about being an agent, right? Or thinking about investing. Can you see how you could get some business out of this? From a brokerage standpoint, an agency standpoint, and more importantly, let's say they join your brokerage, they become part of your downline, okay? So keep that in mind. But in any case, SCORE is a great place to allow yourself to establish authority. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. In any case, another the thing you want to do is always ask for reviews. So you can even put that on your website, on your blog page, or whatever it is you're doing, and put on there, please provide review, and let people review your blogs and articles. Okay, very important, because you want to demonstrate that your people like what you're doing. You're getting feedback. Plus, the feedback, even if it's not positive, it's always good, because if people are saying the same thing over and over again, that's maybe not, you don't think is a good thing to hear. It allows you to know where to tweak and modify and improve what it is you're doing. Okay. In any case, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I didn't make it the point. I didn't emphasize this, which is this: every title you have for every blog, for example, should be in the form of a question, because when people post searches online, almost always it's in the form of a question. Okay, so you get more direct links or alignment between what you want to say and people who want to hear what you want to say. So you put the title in the form of a question, and then of course your article, your blog, you answer the question. Okay. Really good strategy there. So in any case, what I want to do is kind of move on here to some more slightly more technical stuff, but Please relax. I'm not going to overwhelm you. I'm not going to get into a lot of metrics and measurements, all that kind of stuff. We don't have time for it actually, but I just want to give you the what to do and why we do it and how to do it. Okay, real quick, let me check for questions here. If you do have questions, please let me know. I'm going to scan this going forward. Adam says, hi, everyone. Hey, Adam, how you doing, buddy? Hey, Adam, I got your return email. I still need to go back and look at that. I've been at a conference the last 3 years. It literally just ended. And as you can imagine, like this morning, we started at 7 in the morning. The other days, it's just, just crazy trying to keep up when I do these things. But it's good for us to do this. Always self-educate, always improve yourself through training. And when I do it, obviously, it comes back to help you guys. That's why I do it, actually. So in any case, you're welcome, Adam. Thank you. Okay, let's do this. I'll check back with questions here in a minute. But what I want to do is focus on a few more things. Some of the data that we have on what's really working online, it's like it's almost completely different than what we thought a few years ago. Years ago, we were told you need something like 5 to 7 touches. Like people need to see something from you 5 to 7 times before they actually commit. They take some step, they get your free report, whatever it is they do. And they send you a question, hey, I want to buy a duplex too, and whatever. Today's numbers are, guess what? Actually, type in, tell me how many times you think it takes to touch someone via social media to get some type of response, okay? And let me see what your answers are. Okay, we're getting some pretty good answers. 59. You know what, Adam? It's actually, you saw Thurston says 15 to 12. Robert Oostdike says 12. Guess what, guys? It's between 21 and 24. 21 and 24 touches, okay? So in any case, what we want you to do is this is the part I want you to start really writing here. Instead of trying to be all things to all people, because it shows up in your writing and on your post on Facebook and everything else, is to get very micro oriented, be very specific, have very highly targeted messages. What I mean is this. On Facebook, for example, let's say you did write a blog on buying duplexes in Orange County, okay? On your Facebook post, you want to put in there, targeted specific. Say, are you a dentist who's worried about being stuck behind the chair? Well, guess what? Here's how you can alleviate your stress. Buy a couple rental properties, buy one a year, okay? And here's how you can do it, all right? Be very careful putting a lot of other links and stuff on your Facebook posts. In fact, I will tell you this. On Facebook, guys, don't ever put a YouTube link on Facebook. You can technically do it, but they're not going to reward you for it. Facebook and YouTube are like bitter enemies, okay? But what you can do is take them back to your web page where you've got a blog written on how to buy duplexes in Orange County. The point is the more specific you are, the more targeted you are in your writing, the subject, and your selected audience, okay? Now, many of you have heard me speak and teach on this subject. Niche level targeted marketing, guys, just do that. Don't do the broadcast stuff. Don't try to be all things to all people. You are competing then with 99% of all the other agents out there if that's what you're doing if you're an agent. In order to separate yourself from the herd, okay, you've got to get niche level specific on the subject and targeted on your audience, okay? So in any case, target the messages, micro markets. You can use, you can basically use a template that allows you, whatever you create, always copy it, make obviously be a Word document that you can then cut and paste and use the shell and the format later on, okay? Your design is very important. In the beginning, just keep it simple. Believe me, most people don't have a budget to hire a graphic artist, so you just want to keep it simple. I will tell you this, one of the best things you can do is use this big mugshot right here, not me and mine, but yours. All right, put your image out there. If you're walking through a property that you're listing, record it. Do a selfie recording on your cell phone, going through the property room by room, describing it, and also describing the financials on the property, and post that, Okay, you can do right from your phone directly up to Facebook. The bottom line is this: is we're looking for micro targeted messages, and I want to talk about something that's called micro moments. Okay, I mean literally like most of all of us, our brains are typically focused on tomorrow. You know, the next thing, all the things we got to do tomorrow, what we got to do the rest of the day, blah 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 blah. We are not in the present moment. But guess what? When we're interacting with people, unless they're in la la land, typically people do focus and they come back to present moment. So you want to use present moment language patterns. So in other words, when people type in a search, okay, and by the way, remember guys, this is all being recorded, so you can listen to this over and over again. I'm trying to slow down and be intentional here, but I get excited about this stuff, so I apologize if I tend to ramble on too quickly. But micro moments are this: when somebody types in a search, like they'll say something like, "Can I afford a house like this?" or "What can I afford?" Is it close to me? Okay, think about what our consumers are thinking when they're looking at properties. Can I afford it? Is it closer to me? Is it right for me? Right? Is this house right for me? Where should I buy it? Where should I buy? Am I getting a good deal? Okay, these are all thoughts that are going through our consumers' minds when they're buying properties. Okay, well, guess what? You can create messages with those same exact phrases in there, and I promise you, you're going to get way, way higher response rates, and which leads to the higher conversion rates. Okay. The other thing too is this is another idea to look for. If you're looking for subject matter, again, you can also just Google like all the best reviews and Orange County real estate agents. See what people are saying, see what consumers are saying, and tap into that emotion. Okay. I got that idea from another broker, by the way. Also, when you do a post, and whenever you can include the word idea, it generally helps you get more attention. More people respond to or look at your post and respond to it. This is particularly true in YouTube. And by the way, I'm going to talk about YouTube for a minute, and we're going to go back to like Facebook again. Right now, YouTube doesn't get as much attention as Facebook, and it drives them absolutely batty, but different story. The point is, though, it does work. Because here's the thing: the people that are on YouTube are not just on there generally for a few seconds. See, Facebook, people are going through, literally, I mean, scrolling through screen after screen, and you got like a microsecond to capture their attention. Well, guess what? On YouTube, they're more intentional, looking usually for specific things. Okay. So using the word idea on YouTube gains much more traction than almost any other thing I've seen, actually. By the way, on YouTube, you can create your own channel for free. You don't have to, by the way, most of this stuff, guys, you don't have to spend a dime. Okay. So here's what I recommend you do. If you're going through a property, gathering information, getting pictures, getting video to create your listing, for example, or to present it to one of your investors, that same video on your phone obviously can be uploaded to Facebook. It can also be uploaded to YouTube. And the way we do it this way is now you're not posting something directly from Facebook to YouTube or vice versa. They don't like that. You're going from your phone, an independent apparatus, up to Facebook and up to YouTube separately and independently. So you can now be on both channels and increase your traction and your response rates and conversion rates. Every property you go through, guys, I can't emphasize this enough. Do a video and put it on YouTube. I promise, build yourself a channel. Like hi Genevieve, by the way, good to see you too. And Genevieve, I know I owed you a phone call. I appreciate you getting back to me. I've been at this conference in San Diego, and I haven't been able to respond yet, but either tomorrow, Friday, or Saturday, I'll have time. But in any case, back to this: create yourself a YouTube channel. Make it your name. Okay. Genevieve Raymond, real estate, whatever, real estate in Montreal. Okay. Go through and put videos out there. Every opportunity, you should always record yourself. Record everything you do. I mean, within reason, obviously, and post it out there. As long as it's relevant to your subject, post it out there. Okay. any case, back to this. So YouTube, great idea, great topic, great channel. Just remember this: people are always typing in things like this, and this is I want you to write this down again. Should I? Do I need? Again, the word ideas. Put these things in first and in your title and early on in whatever it is you're putting out there. If it's written, it should be in your writing. If it's in video, put in your video. If you think about it, what are people doing when they're looking at properties? Well, here's a couple things. They're doing price comparison, all right? Again, this goes back to, can I afford it? That type of psychology. You're tying that by offering a price comparison, for example. Is it near me? Is it open? Is it open now? Right? How many people typed it in on a Sunday looking for places to go look at on a Sunday open house? How about can I? Okay, CAN space I, can I? Real big. Any case, worth it. The two words, worth it. Is it worth it? WORTH it. HIT. Excuse me. I shortcutted there. Is it worth it? And you answer the question. I think this may be worth it. This is a great deal. Does it work? Yeah, it's a duplex, no deferred maintenance. This thing's going to work great. Think in terms of what people are going through in their minds. How do they talk conversationally? And if you tap into that, in fact, this is a term in marketing we call entering the conversation that's already going on inside their mind. So if you can write that down, you and I, we want to enter the conversation already going on in their mind. When you accomplish that, you got yourself, you don't have to worry about keywords and key phrases and all that stuff. It's going to happen automatically and naturally, okay? Always remember to speak to a need, okay? You also want to identify a triggering event. So for example, right now, everybody's working on the taxes, right? Some people are hoping to get some tax money back on a refund, and they can go out and buy a property or remodel a property, whatever the case is. You want to identify a triggering event. And there's lots of triggering events. People graduate from college. People get their next job. Maybe they want to move up and buy a bigger house. People get married. They want to buy a house. These are triggering events. You want to speak to those triggering events in your marketing, okay? Speak to a need, speak to a triggering event. And in there, once you've established that, and believe me, they're going to click on and say, what's this about? This is, I've been thinking about this. How'd this guy know I was thinking about this, okay? Well, then you describe the outcome, okay? How is this house, how is this duplex going to make their life better? Try to be careful not to just rattle off a whole bunch of features and numbers. It's important stuff. We want to say something like this, say, look, this thing throws off a lot of cash. The price is low enough, you should go to cash flow. Or this is a great area for flipping right now, okay? If you're looking to make a big chunk of cash, flip in this neighborhood, things like that, right? You want to also allay their fears. Remember, fears, unfortunately, guys, the number one motivator in the human race. So you want to allay their fears. You can stir them a little bit, okay? In fact, I gave this in the beginning of the webinar tonight. I gave the example of a dentist whose fear is being stuck behind the chair. That means they're 65 years old. Their practice is them. They're their practice, and they see no end in sight. They're like, "How can I retire? I didn't buy enough investment real estate in my younger days. I've got a practice. If I leave, my practice dies because I'm the practice." Right? All that you can. It's okay to remind them. We call it stirring the fear, but be ethical about it. You don't want to like beat people down, but stir the fear so that you can allay their fear. In other words, you're going to say, "Hey, understand what that feels like. Maybe you're a realtor and you're afraid of being stuck in the Cadillac on Sunday afternoons, looking at open houses. All right, allay their fear and give them the what that looks like picture. Paint a picture. Okay. In fact, if you think about this, people generally are triggered by there's different triggers. There's feeling triggers, like that made me feel bad or that made me feel good. Or I don't like the way that sounds, or hey, that sounds good. That's an audible trigger, okay? Or that doesn't look too good to me, or boy, that really looks great. Those are visual triggers, right? So you got emotional, like feeling, right? Audio or audible, visual. So the thing is when you're online, you don't know who's looking or watching, so you want to appeal to all those three types of triggers, right? Emotional, audio, visual, right? I want to go back to something though that's really important. I mentioned earlier that generally it takes 21 to 24 touches now online through social media to get somebody to commit, right? So what that means is we have to have follow-up sequences, all right? So what I suggest is this, is actually you definitely want to write this down, guys, okay? Don't just think of your marketing as a one-time thing, like an ad. You put an ad out there and you see the same ad run a million times. I know what they're doing. They're basically beating us down, hoping after the 150th commercial we've seen, we'll finally pick up the phone and call Domino's Pizza, right? What we do is we're actually laying down a track, basically a sequence of touches. So now I'm getting a little more technical here, but just bear with me. This is not that complex, guys. I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it, okay? We want to lay down a sequence of contacts, basically laying down a track, 21 to 24, railroad ties, if you want to call it that, 21 to 24 touches, okay? What that means is you got to think through your sequence. You don't want to put just random touches out there. You want to have your touches coordinate with each other. Is this making sense? Let me just stop here real quick. I just want to make sure, because I'm getting into more of the more advanced stuff here. I just want to make sure you're okay. So if you could do me a favor, just say, just let me know. You need me to go back to something, emphasize something more, whatever the case is. Just please let me know. Okay. Let's see. So if we're good on questions. Just looking at questions here, guys. Hey, Bob, if you already took off, good to see you, buddy. I'll see you next week. I know you got a 4:30 Keller function, okay? Okay, so Genevieve, yeah, let me repeat this, guys. All right. So we know that we need 24 touches to have the desired effect we want, which is them, the consumer, to commit to us, okay? In order to do that effectively, what we want to do is think through like a story, okay? We want to have these touches come out sequentially, but also the first touch naturally leads to the second touch. The second touch naturally leads to the third touch. The third touch should then therefore naturally follow the second touch, okay? So you want to think through that. And if you want examples of that, they're all over the internet, okay? You can see all kinds of examples where people putting posts out there, and if you look through and track through, go to their Facebook page and go back through the sequence, you'll see they were actually painting a picture sequentially, like paint by numbers. So in other words, you're basically leading somebody down a path. At some point along the path, it could be step 10, could be step 24. They're going to say, this makes sense to me. This is what I want to do. Genevieve has what I want. I'm going to respond to her. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So think of it in terms of you're having a conversation or you're telling a story. You just don't want to tell them the whole story on one post. You want to break up the story in 24 smaller pieces and lay that story out one piece at a time. Okay. Thank you, Genevieve, for doing that. Okay, let's see here. This is from Adam. Adam saying, how many blogs should I create a month? In the beginning, Adam, I would definitely suggest do one a week. Okay. They're easy to do. In fact, if you want to copy mine, just go to myinvestorservices.com. I don't have it up here. Hang on one second. Let me reduce my screen. And I'm going to myinvestmentservices.com. Hang on one second, Adam. So for everybody here, I'm going to show you where you can go look at these blogs and stuff like that. So there's podcasts. You can look at those. Profit blog. There it is, right there on the right. Profit blog. myinvestorservices.com. Go to the far right on the banner up top. Click on Profit blog, and you'll see some of these are kind of older. But if you go down you'll see there's several per page. If you go down towards the bottom, I'll show you how you can sequence through and go through all the. Here, I'll go fast. Okay. You can see there's 71 pages of blogs, and there's probably 5 to 10 blogs per page. That's a lot of blogs, guys. You can go, and what you do when you find one you want, Adam and everybody, let me show you this. When you find one you want, don't just click on the URL up here. That's going to take you to the page. What you want to do is click on the title. See where my cursor is now? I've got my cursor on the title, Rental Profits Without the Pain, Module 5, Part 2. When I put my mouse over it, it highlighted in red. When I hit the enter key, look at what happens. It gives you the specific URL for that blog. Okay, so now you can, now you got blogs you can post. You can just copy mine, guys, okay? Any case, let me go back to where I was. Hang on one second. There we are. Excellent question, Adam. So you can use mine in the beginning. Just make sure the way you're supposed to do it is you can post it under your name, and at the bottom you're supposed to say something like information provided by Gary Wilson, blah 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 blah. I don't believe me. You guys are my students through my investor services. You can use my blogs all you want. They're there for you to use. Don't worry about any kind of copyright agreement. There's no contract. It's just we tell you can use them, and it's recorded now because this is live and being recorded, so you can use those blogs. Okay, what's called a citation. The one legal thing we're told we need to adhere to is this: you can put it out there on your site. Here's your blog. At the bottom, you say information provided by, and then you put my name if you want. That's how that's supposed to happen. You're welcome, Adam. So in any case, so back to this. I just lost my train. Oh, back to the sequencing. All right. Always remember this. In order to tell a good story, in order to have a good sequence, we want to start with what? What do you think we should start with? We said somebody we want to identify. That's right. It's our client. Who's our ideal client? Who are we targeting in this post? We call that the avatar, and that'll lead to generally a need that they may have. So you got your ideal client avatar, and you'll have many of them. This is just an example here. Over time, you'll have dozens of different avatars, and you can create a story for each one. So the avatar leads to the need. What does that person need? Well, they need a duplex. They need to get out from behind the chair when they're 65 years old. All right, that'll lead to a triggering event. So the person you identify, then you can identify what their needs are. Needs help you identify their triggering event. Okay, and it could also then lead to something like they like or they want. Okay, or something, if you want to play on fear, something they don't like or they don't want. All right, I prefer the positive myself. What would that person like? What would they want as a result or of some outcome of a triggering event? Okay, at the end there, you can put in just remember this. You want to think about this. 3 things: tears, as in tears like crying; friends, our friends; enemies too, unfortunately; and the effect their action or inaction is going to have on one of those 3 things based on what you posted out there. So in other words, people are emotional about where they live and their home, and they want to have a family, and they want to invite friends over and family. They want to be proud of their home. They want to have their friends over for a party. They want to impress their friends. Maybe they want to make their enemies angry because they got a nice house. Well, in your language pattern or in your wording, you could say something like, imagine how this will make you feel when next time you throw a party for your closest friends, or imagine how your enemies will envy you when they see you, see it posted that you just bought a fourplex in their neighborhood, something like that. What I'm getting at is tears are emotional. We are concerned about our friends and enemies and how they think of us and all that kind of stuff. In any case, I think that's pretty much what I had here. Let me look at my other notes here. We talked about sequencing our messages. remember this, people make commitments at an emotional level first, and they back it up with logic. So you want to think through when you're putting these posts out there, you never, ever, ever want to ask for business. Okay. Don't try to sell anything on Facebook posts. Okay. In fact, don't try to sell anything on YouTube either, for that matter. What you're doing is establishing credibility and authority to drive people to want to seek you out. And then when you have that contact, then you have the right to offer something. Okay, make an offer, ask for business. You got to understand the whole thing about the building rapport, interview process, and all that. That doesn't change. In fact, real quick aside here, guys. Every time you come in contact with a client, even if it's a client you've had for 10 years, please be careful not to jump right into business right off the bat. Even if they're a real high D driver type person, like a surgeon, a pilot, they're a real driver, they're fast, they want to move fast. Always take the time to rebuild rapport. Build rapport is the first thing you do, and build rapport is you do that every single interaction. Believe me, I made the mistake of not doing that before. And I'm not saying it's going to cost you a transaction, but it'll, believe me, over time, people want to work with you because they know you, like you, and trust you. And the best way you can reestablish that is to go into rapport, even if it's 60 seconds, right? In any case, back to my notes here. You can, by the way, you can use other people's stories. I mentioned you can use mine. Go online and see what stories are out there, and ask them permission if you can use their story, if it helps you help your clients. Okay. Let's see here. Basically, if you want to study up on this kind of stuff, like the science behind the science, what I just gave you tonight is just basically some pointers and steps to follow. If you want to understand the science, here's the sequence. Study Maslow's needs. It's easily the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a triangle. So learn that, master it, okay? And then you want to read a book called The Psychology of Influence by Robert Cialdini. Okay, just remember the psychology of influence. That's Cialdini, but it's like C, it's Italian. Just remember the psychology of influence. One of the best books I've ever read on the subject, and it's not even really a business book. Okay, so once you understand Maslow's needs, then you can use Cialdini's book, the science of or the psychology of influence, to get some wording ideas in your post. Okay, and then follow it up with good old-fashioned NLP. I'm not going to get into a whole class on NLP. Matter of fact, we're getting ready to wrap this up. I will do another session, by the way, on some basic entry-level NLP. We did one. I think it's been a while. My gosh, I think it's, I don't know when it was. I think it was last summer we did one. Well, I think it's time we did another one of those. So in any case, so you determine the need, use the psychology of influence, what language patterns you use, and then the NLP understands you how the language patterns work and different things you can use. Like when I say, hey, I'm not here to suggest you sell your house if you don't want to. Well, what did I just do? In NLP terms, I just suggested they sell their house. I planted that seed in their mind, their subconscious mind. Okay, I use a negative to implant a positive. And I'm not an expert on this stuff. I'm just telling you, I've learned over the years how it works, and it does work. Okay, so in any case, let's see. I think that is about it. Yep, that's about it. Okay, guys, let me check for a couple of other questions here, and then we'll wrap things up. I've got to get ready for Facebook Live. At 8 Eastern. Okay. Okay, everybody seems like you're okay. Good session. I hope you guys like this. I like doing these better myself because it's more engaging, more interactive. I know there's a lot there, but just remember the recording comes out the next day, and you can use an app on your computer, convert video to MP3. You can strip off the audio and then listen to it on your phone, in your car, whatever you want to do. But more importantly, you can hit the pause button. You can rewind, fast forward, all that kind of stuff, and take your notes then. The stuff I gave you tonight, guys, just gave you pretty much the goods on how you actually make the social media work for you. We just focused kind of on Facebook and YouTube, but the same principles apply everywhere. We're just doing this online. Once you start to get some traction with your post, then you can start spending money. But for right now, just do it free. Always be out there reaching out to people. Build your following. Okay. Remember, you're focusing at least part of your time with investors. They're repeat clients, so you can build it more easily. Build a following by simply remembering half your clients are going to be investors, anyways. So, in any case, guys. Oh, Genevieve's asking, what is the app to convert? Genevieve, all I ever done is I just Googled convert video to MP3, and sometimes you'll see convert like YouTube to MP3 or convert, Facebook video to MP3. But I just do Google. Here, let's just do one. Let's see. Okay, convert video. There we go. Convert video to MP3. Probably a search is done 1,000,000 times a day. Convert audio and video to MP3. Audio online convert.com. So there's one right there, Genevieve, right off the top. Let's see. You want one that does video so you can strip off the audio. Here's convert YouTube to MP3. But the first one looks pretty good because it says audio and video, convert to MP3. Good question, by the way. Thank you, Genevieve. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. God bless you all and your families. Hope you have an awesome rest of the week. And I will see you, I believe I said that was Monday, the 4th, at 4 p.m. Pacific. 4 p.m. Pacific. And, of course, 7 p.m. Eastern. So, in any case, you guys take care of yourselves. Let me know what you want to discuss the next time, and I'll make sure I prepare myself for it. In the meantime, take care. God bless, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.